D'Angelo Russell has turned himself into a respectable defender, a solid off-ball guy. He's actually getting steals every now and then through a pick and roll. He's putting his hands up every now and then as well. And you're hearing the right things from him as well. He's saying, I don't want to be known as like a terrible defender. He hears the things he knew. He doesn't want to be known as that, obviously. So, glad to see him finally turn it around this year.
Oh yeah, like it's great. Yeah, he just had that press conference where he just came out. He's like, yeah, they get players like who I used to be get targeted in the playoffs. He's like, I'm not trying to be that
Yeah,
guy, which was really
that's what he
nice to
said.
hear.
Yeah.
And I mean, like when you watch him, his on-ball defense, I don't think has gotten any better. But also, he's not an athletic player, so it's like,
Yeah.
so like they can only do so much, but they get by him. But like what he does differently is he'll still like trail. He'll trail and cut off. He's just getting in the passing lanes. It's like the biggest
Right.
impact he's had.
And that's
Where
good. Like doing that is so much more than he was before, just sitting around and not trying, now he's getting in the lanes, and sometimes that leads to good fast break points for us.
right, and like even when he gets when they're getting him off the dribble and like they're getting ahead of him, he's able to alter them by he catches up enough, but not enough where he'd be able to defend it, but to push them into one of the bigs, whether it be Nas or Cat or Vanderbilt, really. So he's able to push them into another defender when they get through. So like they're still getting defended, but then he's like in this still angle where usually this happens in a pick and roll, like, and he stays in the lane, so he still cuts off that roll. So I mean he's doing pretty well, but I mean the stats, the advanced stats treat him as if he's like a defensive player of the year. So
Yeah, he's like, yeah, he's gonna win it this year, according to them.
yeah, like look at this. So his defensive rating now, Rudy Gobert's is 102, and that's like great, right? His defensive rating is 96.8. It's pretty insane, and that's on 19 games played. So like, I don't know, but
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, decent sample size. So it's hard to say it's too small of a sample size.
yeah,
Clearly he's improved this year, and he deserves the credit. So
yeah, no, for sure. I think the more telling of like what's more accurate to his effect is his defensive win shares. Defensive win shares is like per 100 possessions, like how his defense will his defense get him a win or offense. So like his offense is 0.9 wins, so they're gonna win. If it's positive, it's always good, and his defensive is a 0.6, so it's still like reflective on like he's still like the mainly an offensive
yeah,
player, but
but at least you're a positive defender.
yeah,
So that is already, a revelation.
yeah, and another good stat is he's holding whomever his opponents to 32% from the field. I mean, from the not from the field, but from three.
From three. Yeah.
Keep them below average. I mean, it's still. I mean, in this league, there's only so much you could do anyway, and
Yeah.
it's just picking up in those rotations. Like we've talked about it before on the show. They've missed rotations. Sometimes they just fall into a mess, especially when they face the Warriors. They're just everywhere. But granted, that's a lot of teams with the Warriors. But he's able to find those that extra guy. Like he's actively looking. He doesn't let himself get lost. Like I mean, not that Anthony Edwards just gets lost or Cat gets lost. He's able to keep track of who he's supposed to defend. And I mean, Edwards, his excuse is his second year in the league, and he's still playing decent defense for a guy who's only played 80 games or so. And
Right.
Cat has no excuse, but yeah, but it's pretty crazy, and even it's actually really funny that within 2 feet of the basket, essentially, this is what layups are. His opponents are shooting 63%, which I'm like, all right, yeah, he's a guard, it's whatever, but it's the same as Cats, so I'm like, a little bit of a problem.
Yeah, well, when Cat is in the paint, it's not very physical. It's a lot of flailing. So he's been solid offensively in the paint, his entire career, but
Yeah,
it's defensively that we've always, have had troubles with there.
yeah, and last bit of the stats. So breaking down the defensive rating, it when you look at home, like his home defensive rating is 86.9, and you're like, oh my god. But then like away it's 109. I was like, that is like 109 is what I expected for his defensive rating. So I was like, that's a little more like showing. So I think eventually he'll get back up to like maybe 105, which is still good. Like
Yeah.
Marcus Smart usually hangs around a 101,
Mhm.
104. I mean 104, 106. So yeah, he's been looking great, and he's a huge reason. He just the most inconsistent offensive player for them out of the
Yeah, I
two
mean,
main
he
two
shot
scoring
1 of
options.
12 from 3 tonight. So, that tells you all you need to know there in terms of inconsistencies. And as we had gotten back to 11 of 10 over 500 here for, it's been a while since we've done that this deep into the season. He was really the main reason for it. You can see he fits this squad perfectly. And when he's doing things right, when he is able to be clutch and hit threes late in the game, often it doesn't matter how many hands you have in his face, he can keep drilling it. But he can be very inconsistent, and some days it doesn't matter if you put a hand in his face because he'll miss it still.
Yeah,
So it works both ways. And you'd love to see him be more consistent. It's just you can see lots of potential there, especially as he fits with this lineup.
yeah. I mean, this is only his like fifth year in the league, sixth year in the league. Like it is kind of crazy to think. Like, I mean, he's not even a veteran yet in my eyes. I think you're a veteran once you hit 20. I mean, depending upon when you came in. Like if you came in as a
I don't think it
20-year-old.
counts as age. It's more about years in the league because, like, if he gets to be in like year 8 or 9, that's a guy who's like, oh, maybe I need to look for a new situation because I need to switch things up. It's very rare that guys spend, close to a decade with the same team. Obviously, D'Lo's only been here for a year and a half, but he's a guy who's polarizing enough and he's, probably he's not going to be the best guy on our team where he'll be untouchable. He'll be one of those guys where it's like, okay, can we upgrade from him or is he going to get better? And those are the sort of questions that'll be asked every year.
Yeah, I mean he's an all-star. I doubt he'll make an all-star team. There are a lot of injured people. Like you could probably make an argument the way Dame's playing. Like Dame name alone should
Well,
get an
Dame just
all-star
got
votes,
hurt.
but oh yeah, right.
Dame's out for like at least 10 days now. So that's not
Yeah.
going to help.
And
But
CJ is just never going to make an all-star game because the NBA hates him. So he
yeah,
could make an all-star game. He just has to be more consistent. But
yeah.
I mean, I was talking about it with one of my buddies at work. Is that like Timberwolves have been known like for as long as I've known them is to just be the worst fourth quarter scoring team in the league, and 40 to 50% of his points come in the fourth quarter, like or in the second half. Like he's a very clutch player. Like that's what the Timberwolves need, and that's what's winning them games. Is him and Anthony Edwards both are scoring the majority of their shots in the second half, and that's really what they need. And their defense has just kept that. As long as their defense could keep it in during the half, then they're set, and that's what's been working for them. So it's
Yeah, they
just nice
just
to
need
see
to
them all
stop
healthy.
being so high and so low. If they could just be more consistent throughout the game, they could, win by bigger margins and maybe not have to, let it come down to the last possession as often as it does. But all in all, they're 11-11 right now, so I'm pretty happy with that.